So, Eamon, what are your five core values, man? We talked about core values last week. What are the five core values you ended up getting down?
Let me pull them up real quick.
If you guys want to start pulling up, does anyone have them up in front of them?
I can
AJ?
start.
All right, go ahead, Breville.
All right, I've got accountability. We're going to be accountable for our actions, our reactions, and how we deal with people.
Mm,
I've got genuineness. Every interaction is going to be genuine. I'm not going to be coming from a fake place.
let's go.
Integrity. I'm going to do the things that people don't see, even if I don't have to. Authenticity, which I took from you, but yes, I'm going to be authentic in all my relationships, in all of my interactions. Dependability. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, and you don't you if I say I'm going to do it, you can depend on me to do it.
Mm,
And then I have a sixth one because I couldn't stop at five. Love. I'm gonna because Jesus said, "You will know my people by they love one another and everyone around them." So I mean, I went a little overboard, but
I love it, bro. No, I love that. I would even say it's really good, man. Those are some great, strong foundations to live your life on and stand on, right? I would even say the authentic and genuineness could kind of go together. So it's
yeah,
perfect that you added. So that it's perfect you added another one. Heck yeah,
yeah.
man. Did when you what revelation did you get while writing these down? Did you get
I
anything that
mean,
in your heart, like man, like
well, because it's like because the greatest thing to do is to raise a family. And as I'm raising my sons, because I have two sons, as I'm raising my sons, it's like, what kind of men do I want these kids to be? Because I mean, there's so many distractions in this world right now, and it's like, and if you don't give them direction, they'll just go all over the place. Like recently, a close friend of mine, I called him Uncle Harv. He died. He was living wild and fast and doing his thing, and he has two children, and one of them's in prison, and the other one's doing her own thing. And it's just like, what did he instill? I mean, he was a very strong family man, very good dude, but I mean, he had his own demons. I mean, everyone has their demons, and I've been going through it, and I'm like, what do I want? I mean, let's say I drop dead tomorrow. What have I instilled in my sons to leave them with a lasting foundation? So even if I'm not here, they're going to be okay.
love it. What are you gonna reproduce, right? What are
Yeah.
you gonna reproduce?
What's my
And
legacy, right?
yeah, we've had one of these calls before, and I talked about it. Yeah, like an inheritance is what you leave behind. I leave inheritance. I leave money, right? That's great. But your legacy is what you leave in somebody. Did you
Yeah.
leave the fruits of your life? Did you what you lived got in? Did it get in them? Did it get in your
Yeah.
sons to be able to carry that legacy of hey, I'm a kingdom minded leader, right? So great job,
Amen.
man. Great job, man. I love that. AJ, what about you?
So my core values are integrity. What I do, what is right at all times, even when no one is watching. My actions align with truth, honesty, and God's standards. And then abundance. I live with a mindset of faith and gratitude, trusting God as my provider and stewarding every blessing He gives me. Faith. I place my full trust in God, seeking His guidance in every decision and walking by faith, not by sight. Not by sight. Honor. I honor God first, then myself and others, by living with humility, excellence, discipline, and responsibility. The last one is respect. I treat every person with dignity, kindness, and love, recognizing them as a created in the image of God.
Let's go. Any revelation from you? I mean, you've had those for a while, bro. You've had these for a year. So, like, just I'm proud of you, AJ, bro. I'm so proud of you, man. So, and I've seen you. Dude, you've been living by honor, bro. You've been honoring me a lot, bro. And I'm grateful for all the times you just give me honor and words of praise, dude. So you're living your core values, man. So I just want to shout you out for that, man.
Thank you.
Amen. Of course, bro. Amen. What are your five, dog?
I have integrity. I am consistent with my actions. I do what I say and refuse to take the easy way out, no matter who is watching. I live with honesty, and my actions match my words. I have loyalty. I'm loyal to my friends and family. I have respect
Mm.
for my loved ones and friends. I never take advantage and always stick by those I love. I choose my family over myself. Loyalty has just always been a really, really important thing to me. Um, Strength. I stand firm in the face of adversity. I can and will weather any storm that comes my way. I am resilient and will always come back stronger after facing setbacks. Discipline. I deny my flesh and act only on God's will and my spirit. My will is greater than my flesh, and I will choose growth and discipline over pleasure and comfort and love. I had to choose between love and faith, but I chose love. I'm selfless in my actions and will love others as God loves me. I do everything with love in my heart and always serve and help others when the opportunity arrives.
So for you, man, how did it feel getting that down?
Good, good. I had because me and you talked about this a while ago, and I had integrity, loyalty, and strength, but I didn't have discipline and love. Um, because I was kind of struggling to get the last two in and choose a solid last two that I really wanted. But I think those two are perfect.
Let's go. Let's go. John, what you got, brother?
Um, Number one's loyalty. So being loyal to myself and to others. Without the loyalty, I'm just living in a cycle of repetition that'll lead to failure. So I need to uphold myself to that standard. Honesty, always being honest. Truth will always lead to fruit. Ethic. Mine is particularly a work ethic. I'll do whatever it takes every day to provide. I have that work ethic and I need to execute. Foundations, having a foundation. I need this principle to build upon and improve upon. It'll give me the foundation to build off of, kind of like a house. Routine. I need to have a routine. Without a routine, I'll spiral into a circle of confusion, especially for someone like me who needs this kind of a balanced structure to work off of. It gives me clarity and direction.
Okay, bet. So we could dive a little deeper. So routine, more would be like discipline, right? I want to be disciplined, right? These are so no, great job, man. Writing these down. What did came to your mind, man? Did anything like come to your mind where it's like now you have a vision like of where you want to go? Like what came to your heart when you were writing these down, man?
Yeah, definitely. It's just having that agenda kind of gives a kind of a clear path to go by. And it was cool. It's nice. I'm a visual learner, so putting things down on paper definitely helped me kind of, you know, give
This is this
purpose
is
to it.
this is a great start to be able to always go back to, man. To
Yeah.
as you can see, a lot of us, right? What do we have? Honesty, integrity, right? That's why we're all like, right? Like we always talk about alignment, right? Your alignment changes your assignment in life. Look at how many of us already have, right? Honesty, integrity, right? That's so funny because we're all on the same call. We all have vision to grow. We all have vision to get better, and we're aligned. So we're going to have a lot of the same core values. That's why those core values allow me to identify who are leaders in the organization. That's why we're probably going to share a lot of the same core values because I know who I am. I know my core values, so I can spot them in others. You see, it allows me to know who I do my life with, right? So, thank you, Dan. What's up, bro? Do you have yours?
Yeah, man.
Let's
Um,
let's get it.
so the first one's it is about faith, the first one. So I do want to become more closely tied with like the Christian faith and like how I go about my daily business.
Okay.
The first one's gonna be, faith is first. My relationship with Christ is my foundation. That's gonna be
So,
able to shape my character, my integrity, and how I treat people. And everything's just gonna kind of flow from that. So faith is first, and then the second one was obviously integrity. I know everyone's bringing up integrity, but integrity without compromise. Do the right thing even when no one's watching. It's very important in this business, especially because trust is everything, especially when you're dealing with like old people that don't know exactly. Sometimes they just kind of let you take the wheel and you show them the direction. So that's why you have to have integrity without compromise. Um, and then the third one is more of like a personal one for me, personal responsibility and growth. I got to own my own results. Don't blame the circumstances. Um, I sharpen my own skills essentially, and leaders are built. They're not just given titles. So, and then the fourth one was more aligned with just like managing people. Um, more or less being like a servant of leadership. And my job isn't just to control people, it's to develop them. And when people around me win, the whole team wins. And then the fifth one would be just kind of like work ethic, excellence, showing up, prepared, disciplined, and consistent. Average really isn't like an option, so you kind of got to like set a standard as far as like discipline goes. And yeah.
That's thorough, bro. That was fire. That was thorough as heck. That was really good, man. Now, as far as like when you were writing this down, anything come to your mind, like, man, like, did you get some vision a little bit? Like, did you get to the whole point of writing it down, right? Is so we could
Mm.
run. This is who we want to become. Now that you have it on paper, right? This is what's important to you, right? These are your core values. Now you have something of this is who you're becoming. And you're constantly always going to be coming. You're never going to arrive in life, right? If you have this growth mindset, you're always going to get better. You're always going to grow. You're always going to push and press on to see how we can grow and develop. Those core values are super important because they allow you to have a foundation and a root system to know who you are, who you want to be, and how you constantly grow in those areas. What came to your mind when you were writing this down? Or
Well, the
what came to
third
your heart?
one, because I wanted to like progress it. So the third one's like personal growth. You can't like, lead other people until you have personal growth yourself. And then the fourth one was about um, leading people, showing them like if the people around me, in order for them to win, I got to win as well. And it's not about controlling them. It's more about being like a servant of leadership towards them. And then the fifth one is just kind of like for me and then like the team that I would be building as myself, we all have to have consistency, discipline. Average isn't just like an option. Like we have
So
to own
open
it
your
and we have to
eyes. So
win it.
open your eyes. Getting it down on paper. Open your eyes to some things. Then,
Yeah.
bet. Hey Corey, I'm gonna give you a pass because I know you yeah I know you had
I have
class.
like
So
the bare I have like the bare minimum. I need to elaborate, but I mean, just all
no, and
those.
that's not on you, man. That's not
No,
on
no,
you. So
there needs to be a sense of urgency because listening to everybody else's was pretty warming. We definitely are on the same vibe, but my number one is Christ first. My number two is honor God. My number three is love as Jesus loves. My number four is remain selfless. And then the last one, as all of us have, is to have integrity. But now I need to unravel that. I need to pray on it and really just, because I don't want to just put anything there because it's just for me and my family. So, but that's what I have so far.
let's go. Let's go. I know you had them right, and we've met, but I haven't told you to dive deeper, right? I haven't told you like, hey, this is what this means to me. This is how it looks because you know what it is, but now we have to dive a little bit
If,
deeper,
if
right?
I'm being completely honest, brother, you did tell me there was no sense of urgency on my end. So I definitely I feel that push to unravel that. But you did tell
Well,
me, so I apologize. So yeah, I got to get that done.
well, thank you for taking ownership, bro. That's why
Yes,
we're
sir.
here. We're here to get better. So
Yes, sir.
guys, there's a couple things that I went over that actually Dan was saying about control, things like that, right? So the topic of today, right, is healed identity is always going to be healthy influence. Okay. And it's leading without wounds leading you. And I'm going to dive deep and I'm going to unpack this. The core scriptures of today is going to be Psalms 139:23 to 24, and then Hebrews 12:15. Okay. So, this whole point of this presentation, I want to ask you some questions. What's really leading you? Ask yourself, what's really leading you? Okay. Most leaders spend years learning how to lead, okay, but very little time discovering what's leading them. They sharpen their skills, they study strategy, we grow influence, we get platforms, we spend years learning how to lead. But really, do we spend enough time and pause and ask long enough? Why do I react the way I do when pressure hits? What leads me? Why why do I react the way do I do? Right? Here's the foundational truth for today is what you don't heal, you will eventually lead from. because unhealed wounds, guys, they don't stay hidden. They do not stay hidden. So what we've dealt with in our past, what you've gone through to get to this very point of where you are today, they quietly shape your decisions, your reactions, your tone, and the culture of the leadership that you provide to your team. And that's why we're going to talk today about healed identity, because healthy influence always flows from wholeness, always flows from that identity piece we were talking about, our core values, right? But it always flows from once I got my core values down on paper, then I was able to see, wow, there's a lot of things that I don't do. And it's not about condemnation for myself. It's about self-reflecting, saying, why did I lead that way? Why did I lead out of insecurity before? Why did I lead out of lack of faith? Why did I lead of such control and micromanaging, right? Over the last 10 years, I've had multiple companies and I've made a lot of mistakes. So everything that I speak from is always going to be from experience, right? It's never going to, most of the time, or another leader taught me. I'm not going to just make anything up, right? It's going to always have some fruit from somebody else or myself in it. And for myself, I identify that anytime I didn't heal some wounds inside from past traumas, I always had it leak into my leadership, right? So here's the big truth of today, guys. Unhealed identity wounds, when you don't have those healed wounds, they're always going to eventually leak into your leadership decisions. Does anyone have anything to say about that? Anyone want to tap in on that, or I can keep it moving?
Well, definitely. I mean, if you have unhealed or unsolved issues in your own walk, it's gonna. I mean, what they say, how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you have those unhealed wounds, granted, oh yeah, I'm great, life is going, but you still have that trauma, like you were saying, that's gonna leak over. Oh, I mean, I know you've had some calls with Justin where you guys have got heated. So have I. I mean, you know how
Of
that goes.
course.
And it's how you approach those situations. Do I fly off the handle, or do I do it in a measured sense where I understand things aren't exactly how I want them to be, but how do I approach it so I'm not pointing fingers and calling names and putting people down and things of that nature. But those unhealed wounds, oh, I've been screwed over before. Trust me. I mean, I've $44 billion deal I've been screwed out of. Oh, yeah. Do I take that out on you, or do I grow from that and learn from my past mistakes?
And it goes from heartbreak, guys. It's so funny. Has anyone been heartbroken here? Just let me get a yeah.
Oh yeah, I've been
Yeah.
Okay.
heartbroken.
Most
Now,
most
here's the thing
definitely.
is the trauma and the wounds that you didn't heal from eventually what? Leak into your other relationship.
Yep.
The insecurities, the fear, and it's the same thing when it comes to your leadership. And I'm going to dive into it. So that's why teaching point number one, if you want to take notes, this is a great point to write. God wants access to the roots, not just the results. And I'm going to unpack that. Psalms 139, 23, 24. That said, search me, God, and know my heart. See if there's any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. So this is David, bro. Like David and he's one of the greatest leaders in the Bible, other than Jesus Christ. Like I love the way he led. Right. I don't know if you guys have been watching the Book of David on Amazon, but it's lit. Season 2 just came out. I just started watching it, but it's like David doesn't ask God to correct his behavior. He asks God to search his heart, because in Proverbs 4:23 it says, keep your heart with all diligence, for it from it flows the springs of life. Or it says protect your heart, because everything flows from the heart. So this is why God wants your roots, right? Because he knows your heart is the source, not the side issue. Life doesn't just happen to you, it flows from it. And God's never interested in just surface level leadership, right? It's not gonna work. He goes after the roots. Okay. And I want to tell you a story, guys. and it's about a tree. The tree looked fine until it didn't. All right. I remember hearing a story about there was a grower who had an orchard tree. The tree looked perfect on the outside. From a distance, you would have sworn it's a healthy tree. They're all good. The leaves are green. The branches were full. Even the shape of the tree looked strong. But when harvest came, something was off. Some trees were producing. Some looked good at first. Some of the fruit was bitter. Some of it was small. Some of it was weak. Some of the trees are weak. Some of it would fall off the branches before it even riped. So the grower did what most people do, and this is how most leaders do it. He started checking what's visible, what's around him, the people, the places, the things, right? He checked the branches. He checked the leaves. He checked for the pests. He checked the trunk for damage. Everything looked normal. He did one thing that most people don't do. He took the extra step. He stopped focusing on what's above ground and he started checking what's underground, the roots, what's deep. And he found, and this is what he found, is the roots were compromised. In some places, the roots were shallow. They never went deep enough. In other places, the roots were tangled, bound up. In some areas, the roots had started to rot. And the crazy part is the tree didn't show it immediately. It still looked good for a while, but eventually the fruit of the tree told the truth. Because a tree can only produce based on what it's pulling from. The fruit will always be a reflection of the condition of the root system. So when I heard this story, I was like, man, this is when it hit me. Like a tree doesn't struggle like in the fruit because it's trying to be bad. Like it's not just trying to be a bad tree. It struggles because something beneath the surface is sick, shallow, or starving. Right. And that's the same with leadership. When our unhealed wounds are going to show how our fruit is, meaning the people around us, how we lead, what we display, what people can see, what we can touch. It might look good on the outside at first, but eventually it's going to show, hey, why is this, why are you not producing other kingdom minded men? Why are you, like, there was a time where I wasn't doing kingdom minded leadership and I just produced other egotistical, money driven, let's work hard, do hard, you know, kind of men with no love, no compassion, no core values, and we just lived aimlessly through life, right? Here's the thing: is heat reveals what's in the roots. Okay, so let me dive into this. The tree in this story, guys, that's your leadership. The tree, what people see, the results, the reputation, your behavior, your tone, your leadership style. That's the fruit. That's the branches we're talking about in that story. Then you have the roots. That's your heart. That's what God sees. Your motives, the wounds, the pride, the insecurity, the trauma, the faith, the trust. That's your root system. And then the heat of life, the pressure, that's conflict in business, criticism from your employees, rejection, betrayal from some of your employees. Like I've had employees like that. I loved, dude. Like it's like, man, I've done everything to try to help, just badmouth me, right? The stress of business, the money pressure, the deadlines, the leadership weight. When that heat comes, it does not change the tree, right? When all these things come, it simply pulls whatever the roots have been drinking, whatever you've had from the wounds, right? So when pressure turns up, whatever is in your roots, your unhealed wounds, it's going to show up in the fruit. It's going to show up in your fruit, guys. And God doesn't expose those wounds just to like shame you, right? He reveals them to you because he knows that healing begins when we stop managing appearances and we start inviting God beneath the surface. Any takeaways from there? Anyone want to tap in?
Yeah, absolutely. That was so good. And I just think about how you spoke on David and his leadership. And on the outside, he was a king. He had just slayed thousands of people, but he did create a sin that we all know, him sleeping with Bathsheba. But he understood on the outside, he's a leader, but on the inside, he was wicked. So he brought his vulnerability to the Lord, to God, and said, create in me a pure heart. What are my motives? On the outside, they think I'm king, they think I'm this man, but who am I on the inside? I know I'm wicked. I'm create me a pure heart and renew a steadfast spirit in me. So when as us as leaders, if we could just bring our wickedness to the Lord, then it won't be dispersed in public to the ones we care about, to the ones that we're leading, to the, you know what I mean? So that was just
Facts.
so good. That was just so good. You
Facts.
touched on that.
And we're gonna touch on that. Watch. There's gonna be a section about that. Ready? Teaching point number 2. Right. This is topic number 2. Write this down. Many leadership patterns are formed in pain, not principle, guys. Right? And let me explain this. Proverbs 4:23. Patterns flow from your heart. Above all else, guard your heart. From everything you do flows from it. Right? It doesn't say guard your reputation. It doesn't say guard your image. It doesn't say guard your platform. It says guard your heart. Because your heart is the source. In other words, leadership isn't just what you do, it's what flows out of you. And what flows out of you is what is shaped by what has been formed in you, in your heart. The traumas, the experiences, like Bravel said, he's been like he's been I gotta add Eamon in, sorry. Sorry, Eamon. Bravel said he's been uh messed over on a business deal, right? I'll never forget. I've been messed over
Huge
on a
deal.
business. I've been messed over on a business deal. This is no bullcrap, guys. I had an installer in Florida steal over $600,000 from me. Right. They went out of business. They bankrupt. They owed me over 600 and something $1,000. My employees were waiting for their money, and I had to. It was brutal. It was brutal. For a long time, I could not trust anyone I did business with. This is something. This right here is still for me. This is. I have to understand. I got to put it in God's hands, lay it on God's feet, and focus on my results. Right? It's not saying, hey, don't have some discernment, just completely disregard. Like, hey, let's see what's going on with these people, right? But it's saying, hey, listen, I can't just think everybody's gonna mess me over. That's why I have to understand, identify, and reflect. Why am I responding and like everything's gonna go wrong? Right? I've had conversations with Corey like this where I explained to him, hey, man, this is what happened to me. So sometimes I can still let it pour into my leadership decisions only for others, not even for myself. I got to the point where, hey, I don't live like that for myself. But when it's for others, I've had past experiences where I've seen somebody, 600,000 gone and somebody had 20K of commission gone and they didn't get it, right? Because the company went bankrupt. So I want to protect people, but here's the thing: is scared money don't make no money, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, not only that, it's like, who am I having faith in? Those people or God, right? I can only control myself and my actions, right? So I told Corey this, but here's the thing: is the only reason I would be able to identify those type of things is if I look internally and start really getting deep and looking at my roots. Well, what caused me to react this way? What causes me to behave in such a manner? That's what most leaders don't do. They look at they point fingers. Dan was like, hey, I don't want to point fingers. I want to take ownership. Most leaders, once they get, especially owners, right? I'm not talking about management where they have somebody, once you're like, hey, I own this. I'm driving the wheel of this company. They always try, most of those people blame employees, situations, circumstances, things around them, and never take a look at their own. How do I know? Because I did it for so long. I did it for a while, right? So leadership patterns, they don't just start in skill, they start in your heart. Once you understand this in leadership and kingdom minded leadership, it's like, hey, listen, leadership patterns don't, it's like, I can get as good as, I can become a way better public speaker. I can learn how to close way more. But that doesn't mean I'm a great leader. It starts in your heart. Once you have that mindset, it's like, all right, if I work on my heart posture, if I work on where, like, what comes into, and I guard my heart, protect the resentment, the anger, the bitter. If I protect what goes in, then what comes out is going to reflect Christ a little more. I'm going to lead and have more of an impact based off of this. Because most leadership, they think it's strategy, communication, execution, discipline. Yes, those matter, guys. But the Proverbs teach us your leadership pattern, they're spiritual and emotional before they're professional. That's a bar right here, guys. Your leadership patterns in life they're spiritual and emotional, meaning like the traumas before they're even professional. That's why, like, you can have a leader, right, who knows the right thing, believes the right thing, even teaches the right thing, but under pressure, they still react the wrong way. Because patterns don't live in your head and the knowledge you have. They live in your heart. They live in your heart posture. What comes in flows out, right? Your patterns are your default settings under pressure.
Like
So,
Mike Tyson said,
right?
everyone has a plan until you're punched in the face.
It's so funny. My pastor says that all the time, dude. That's why I'm geeking, dude. Your patterns are your default settings under pressure. So ask yourself, like, what when things get chaotic, right? Do you, this is really really good right here. When conflict happens with your girl, let's see if you have spouses or any type of conflict in your life. If you don't have a spouse, do you run to it? Do you run from it? Do you isolate? Do you go to others? What are your patterns? Identify these patterns, right? Because patterns are what you do when you don't have time to think. It's a pattern. So it's very important to see what these things are. They're automatic. So when pressure hits, people think, "Oh, I rise to the occasion." When pressure hits, you just return to your formation. You return to what you've been doing, the pattern. Because when the heart isn't healed, like I said, it leaks into your leadership. Go ahead, John.
It's like kind of like fixing a car. I like to work on my own cars. I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of a challenge. And when you like say you're doing some sort of project and you get stuck on it, and you're like, why won't this bolt come out or why won't this part come out? You have to sit there, take a step back, and you think, the engineer who designed this car, they they fixed it. They made it serviceable. So there is a will, there is a way. You just have to take a step back, think about it, approach it with a different approach, and voila, 9 out of 10 times you'll fix it. On the 10th time, you'll just bring it to the mechanic and actually get it fixed.
That's funny. And the next point, man, is many leaders aren't leading from principle, they're leading from pain. Let me unpack this for you. This is where you can really bring conviction. A lot of people call it leadership style, right? It's actually unhealed pain with authority. Let me unpack it even further. Have you ever heard some leaders say, "This is myself," right? This is how I used to lead. That's just how I am, dude. This is just how I am. I'm just intense. I'm just an intense. I'm passionate, man. I'm just intense. That's just my leadership style. Man, I'm a perfectionist. I'm just a perfectionist. I'm just blunt. I'm just blunt. I just keep it real. That's why I told you, like, I hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. I just keep it real, man. I don't do emotions. Emotions. Yeah, I don't do emotions, man. I can't. That's soft. I'm keeping it real, man. Many times, guys, you got to understand those aren't personality traits. Okay, they're defense mechanisms. They're learned behaviors formed in moments where I had to survive in life through pain. All of these, I'm intense. That's just how I am. I'm blunt. I keep it real. That those are defense mechanisms. Pain will always try to give you a leadership style. When I don't do emotions, right? That's because I've been hurt before and I'm trying to protect my emotions. I'm just a perfectionist. When I try to make sure everything's perfect within the organization and my company, that's just insecurity from never living and thinking I was going to amount to anything. So I need everything to be perfect. That's just how I am. That's just a response for me saying, I don't know really how to lead, and that's just how I am, not taking full ownership. So do you see how a lot of leaders just lead from principle and not, I'm sorry, from pain or areas where they just haven't healed in, and it always will go into your leadership style. So let me tell you four strategies, right? There's four survival strategies, okay? And I love where Dan said something about control. What did you say about control, Dan, in your core values?
About control.
Yep.
Well, let me pull up my notes.
No, no worries. I don't even worry. I got it right here. So control flows from fear. If
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to, if you want to control in leadership, if as a leader, if you're always looking to control things, and remember, we said we're not just leaders in business, guys. We're leaders in our family. We're leaders to our brothers and sisters. We're leaders to our spouses. We're leaders to our kids. We're leaders to our friends, brothers, and sisters around us. Leadership is a lifestyle, guys. We already established this. If you're trying to control everything in your leadership style, it's not always arrogant. Some people think he controls everything because he's arrogant, man. He's no. Sometimes it's just trauma. If I don't manage everything, I'm not safe because people around me let me down so much that I have to have my hand on everything to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
That's me, guys. That was me for a very long time. Once that happened, where it's like, holy cow, like we just lost 600,000. I had 26 employees overnight. I went down to 4 employees, dude. I was like, I wanted to quit. That was like grit season. I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. And I stuck with it. But here's the thing is once I moved forward, those unhealthy wounds made me micromanage everything from control because I was fearful. I couldn't delegate simple tasks. Simple tasks. I wasn't able to delegate because I was like, if I don't manage everything and I don't see everything, I'm not safe. So I needed the final say. I needed constant updates. I had to correct everything. I had difficulty trusting people because the root isn't leadership excellence for me. That wasn't the root. That's the root is important. The root in that control leadership was fear of disappointment, fear of being embarrassed, fear of being let down again. So as a leader, I started controlling people instead of developing. Hear that? As a leader, I started controlling people instead of developing them. Control is often fear, just trying to feel safe. Anyone want to? Anyone? Can
Do you want me
anyone?
to read? Do you want me to read what I wrote down though, Justin?
Yeah, go ahead. It's
All
okay.
right,
I
so
just
I'll
wanted to
reiterate.
start it
So
off.
yeah, so this was my fourth one. It was about managing people. So it's being a servant of leadership. My job isn't to control people; it's to develop them. When the people win around me, the whole team wins. And then more or less to kind of break it down, it was just like I'm invested in developing people, not just producing numbers. I'm present, supportive, and accessible to my team. I'm willing to lead from the front and do the hard work. I'm measured by how well the people around me grow.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. This is a great section for you. So to understand, hey, if you don't want to control, then let's look at some things, right? Are you control flows from fear and know it? Where is this control coming from? It's coming from some trauma, the micromanaging, right? Control is often fear, trying to feel safe. I love what you said. I'm here to develop men. Once you start controlling people around you, there's no developing people around you because you're micromanaging everything. One thing with Anthony, dude, is Anthony's is been Anthony's been allowing me to pour into him for the last over a year now, over almost a year and a half. One thing that I've been able to grow in my leadership with Anthony is I've been able to trust his decision making. I've been able to develop him rather than control him. Does that mean that there's not some guidance there in some of our leadership decisions? Of course there is, right? Because at some point, right, I have to there's an order to it, right? But here's the thing is I trust him. I like he makes a decision, man. Hey, listen, we're gonna live by that mistake together. If it's a mistake, and if it's a win, you're gonna get all the ownership. And if it's a mistake, as a leader, even if it was his choice, I'm taking ownership on that, and I'm taking that. Man, hey, man, listen, I trusted you in that. That's okay. As your leader, man, I take full responsibility. So control, man. If you, it's all about just not trying to feel just trying to feel safe. If that's your leadership style, understand, hey, it's coming from a place of fear. Now, there's another form of leadership, people pleasing. People pleasing leadership. That flows from insecurity. People pleasing isn't kindness. It's fear wearing a smile. It says, if everyone's happy, I'll be accepted. So what does it look like? Avoiding hard conversations, saying yes when you should say no, over explaining decisions, craving approval from the room, leading based on moods instead of mission, right? Guys, when I used to do this, it killed culture. If everyone's happy, I'll be accepted. Holy cow, that's when my team or the people that I led became my friends and I wasn't their leader and the whole chain of authority was gone. Whole chain of authority was gone because I would over explain myself with decisions that, hey, this is why we're doing it. Or what's crazy is I would overpay these reps in solar, completely overpay by a long shot compared to what other solar organizations pay their reps, thinking like, hey, yeah, man, like I'm going to overpay them and they're going to love it. But ultimately, they were ungrateful for it, most of them. it was wild. And I was all about people pleasing, where I would put the people before the mission. And now it's like, listen, I'm always going to I always want to serve people. I always want to help people. But what's my mission? What is the mission of Kingdom Health Group? The mission of Kingdom Health Group is really simple. We're trying to make heaven more crowded with this stuff. We're trying to build kingdom minded leaders. We have all of you guys on here as kingdom minded leaders. Our goal as Kingdom Health Group first is to use what we have as a platform to show what Christ looks like through me, through you guys, to develop others, right? We want to be known as the #1 Christian company in New England, not by how much we make, but how much we give, how many salvations we have, and how much time and how many donations we give to the church. We want to impact the kingdom of God. So and that's our mission, guys. And Medicare comes after that. It sounds crazy, right? But we have a mission. And here's the thing: is a people pleasing leader will always sacrifice truth to keep peace. I keep it too real sometimes with leadership, right? With leadership decisions, and it's like sometimes people will like sacrifice the truth to keep the peace. Like sometimes they won't even tell you the truth because they want to people please. But then it's like, hey, bro, that's fake peace, right? A leader doesn't lead the room. A leader that doesn't lead the room leads them. That's
Yes.
part of this. I've been there. So ask yourself, hey, am I a people pleasing leader? Do I come from a place of insecurity? Like when I step into a room, do I lead the room or does the room lead me? Anyone have any takeaway on that one?
Impact over income.
Let's go.
I wrote a Bible verse for all of that. I mean, I didn't write the Bible verse, but I jotted one down.
You wrote it down though.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, my
It-
boy's a psalmist.
Yeah, so I mean, it's when Jesus washed the feet of, the 12 disciples
Mhm.
at the Last Supper. It's John 13:14, verse 14 to 15. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. And it's basically like leading by example, not by title. Um, it's not symbolic fluff. It's more of like just leadership. Um, you wash the feet of those who have failed him. You wash the feet of
You washed the
someone
feet
that
of
someone that
Judas.
betrayed him, someone that
Yeah.
also denied him. Um, it's just basically him showing that he's willing to lead by example, so that his followers then could also take what he showed and lead others as well, not by title, but by faith and by being a leader in their
You live
community.
Let's
with the
go.
towel.
Let's go. My boy's getting active. I love it. I love that. I love that, Dan. Perfectionism, right? There's another leader. It's the perfectionist. That flows from rejection. Perfection is not a high standard. It's simply if I get it right, I won't be rejected. So it looks like I'm never satisfied. I'm a constant critic to all my employees, impossible expectations. I can't even celebrate wins because I want it to be better. Harshness towards self and others, burnout disguised as excellence. Perfectionism is often the fruit of childhood or past environment where love was conditional. That's for me, guys. I'm going to read that again. That's a bar. This right here is for me. I just remember like my love was conditional. It's crazy. Like with some of the trauma that I had with my parents, with my dad, and the way he loved and the way my mother loved, it was a very conditional love. So perfectionism is often the fruit of a childhood or past environment where love was conditional. So now you perform for love. But here's the truth. Perfectionism is the fear of being seen as flawed. It produces a culture where people don't feel safe to grow because they don't want to make a mistake. I've had cultures like that. Then there's avoidance. That flows from self-protection. There's avoidant leaders. If I disengage, I can't be hurt, right? So what does it look like? Shutting down emotionally, disappearing during conflict, delaying decisions. Like they wait to the last minute because they're afraid of the outcome, not addressing problems. They just keep going without even addressing the situation. They keep distance from people. Avoidance isn't peace, it's protection. But avoidance leadership always has a price, because what you won't control, or sorry, let me just put it this way, what you won't confront will control your culture. That's why we've let go some people this week in our organization, not because it's like we want to let people go, because if we don't confront that, that's going to be what the culture, what people think the culture is, right? So we need to make sure that, hey, this is the standard, this is what's set, and if people aren't on mission with us, if people aren't aligned and they're not buying into the culture, then they can't be in the culture, because eventually that will control your culture. And what do I mean by that? There was a time in my leadership where I had my top reps not show up to meetings. And because they were generating thousands of dollars monthly for my organization, I said, all right, hey, listen, we can't let him go. He makes too much money for us. But here's the thing is, it actually hurt our culture significantly. Our culture was terrible, because any new people that I actually needed to train looked up to the top guys and said, these top guys aren't going to meetings, so I don't need to go to meetings. So then I can, if I got rid of those leaders or those people that were the top reps, and built a culture of constant growth, constant let me learn, let me get better, anybody that was new would be sticking to the, hey, this is what this culture is about. We learn, we grow. So they're going to show up to the meetings, get better in due time. It wasn't an instant. If I got rid of this person, it was an instant, man, we lost X amount of money. That's what I was looking at, rather than, hey, if we get rid of this person, the culture is going to be good. And eventually, by having people that are bought in, and people that are like, hey, I want to learn and continue to grow, over time, our culture and our business revenue would increase significantly, right? And I let people, and I let what I didn't confront control our culture. It's crazy. Silence, silence is still silence is still leadership. It's just passive leadership. Like if you're silent and don't say anything, you don't do anything in your organization and make adjustments, that's still leadership. It's just passive leadership. But here's the thing is, the real key is, these were survival strategies. This is where like patterns, you didn't start because you were bad. Like all these insecurities, all these things, it doesn't start because you're bad. They started because you were hurt at some point. They were coping mechanisms. They were survival strategies, at some point protected you in your life, but now they're limiting your leadership. What once protected you is now poisoning you and your leadership. Operating out of insecurity, perfectionism flows from rejection, right? Is everyone happy? I'll be accepted. That's the people pleasing from insecurity. If I don't manage everything, I'm not safe. Controlling from fear. It's very important, because what you used to protect, what protected you, and that's how you responded in life, is now poisoning your leadership. And healing doesn't remove leadership strength, guys. It purifies it. So God doesn't want to shame you. He wants to heal you, because here's the thing is, when roots heal, guys, when my roots started to heal for me personally, I would go ahead, Eamon.
I was just going to ask you to tell us a little bit about how you healed.
Ready? Perfect. Sorry, my wife just walked in. Okay, so let me show 1 second. 1 second, guys. Thank you, my love. Okay, so ready? Let me just tell you, before I tell you how I healed, right? Let me tell you what it looks like now to lead from a healed place, right? My control and my leadership, once I started healing, and here's the thing is, guys, once you heal, you still have a scar, guys. It's still visible at times. Doesn't mean it's bleeding out like the open wounds. Okay? So I still have a scar, which means I can still see in my leadership sometimes the wounds, but it's not bleeding and leaking into everything. So I still have some times where I have control. But here's the thing is, as I healed, as I looked internally, as I done some self-reflection and walking with a kingdom leadership mindset and a kingdom leadership style, right? Control in my life became healthy stewardship. So it's not controlling, it's let me steward it. People pleasing, right? Hey, let me people please, became let me please God. And let me also love these people with some boundaries. Boundaries, hey, is this on mission? Is this aligned with me? My perfectionism that I had in my life became, hey, I'm going to operate with excellence, but I'm also going to have grace with myself. Avoidance, avoiding all those things. Listen, that became wisdom and courage. I learned from it. So, how did I heal? Very simple. I'm going to talk about it after this, right? But I got aligned with people that were dedicated to healing. God first. I went up to God. I placed my problems at God's feet. Self-reflection. So God, hey, once the more I pray to God, hey Lord, reveal to me what I need to work on. That prayer that David's saying, check my heart, right? Lord, create me a clean heart. I've said this multiple times driving at 6 a.m. God, create me a clean heart. Show me what I need to remove. Show me what I need to heal to become a man of God that's going to impact others. I don't want to reproduce bad fruit in my life, Lord. Show me. So, number one, in order to heal, you need to bring it towards God and ask for revelation on what you need to heal. Because sometimes, dude, we don't even realize. Closed mouths don't get fed. I got to ask God, God, show me. So I started praying and asking for revelation on, Lord, what needs to be healed. Then once I started praying, I started getting some revelation on what needed to be healed. But then God also started putting people in my life that healed from certain. It's crazy. It's like once you start praying for the revelation, God's going to show you. But then He's also going to put some people in your life that came from where you were, what you struggled with, and now have some fruit in it. So then I got aligned with people that healed from controlling everything, people pleasing, perfectionism, avoidance. And it might not be with business, but it's with their relationship. It could be with like their whole lifestyle of leadership. So I would say for me, how I healed was I brought everything to God and I asked for revelation. God brought me the revelation. I self-reflected on that, but then I also got in alignment to change my assignment, to change the way I did things, and it helped me so much more. And Eamon, I think you could relate to that. I mean, you've been coming every Saturday morning to the Warriors. I think I think it's been showing you some areas in your life that you need to work on based on the men that you see that are growing with God on another level. Would you agree?
100%, man. 100%. I think that it's helped me be a better father and a better spouse. Um, I mean, I remember one of the first times that we talked, we were just you were telling me a bit about your story. I was telling you about some stuff that was going on in my life, and I think at the you know remember at the time I was telling you about how like me and my girl were like butting heads like crazy about this one topic, um, and I remember you specifically saying that I needed to quote honor her, and I didn't really like understand what that meant. You know, I kind of thought that I was already doing that, I guess. But I mean, just that, dude. I mean, just that alone, and me kind of realizing, like, all right, just looking back at the past couple weeks, past couple years, and just realizing, like, all right, yeah, Justin's right. I do need to honor her because there are so many ways where I'm not, and how is she gonna be happy? How is she going to I guess respect me as a leader, or respect my decisions if I'm not leading her properly or making her feel honored, and so on. So I mean, yeah, it's helping in going to ELC and just going to that meeting and being around better men and leaders have been helping me a ton, especially because I haven't really had something like that before. Um, I mean, I've had AA, but it's much different, and it was kind of toxic in ways. Um, but being around Christian, like-minded men, and Christian leaders, it's helped me a ton. because I've never really had a mentor or anything like that, and um, having one now has been extremely helpful in more ways than one.
I'm proud of you, Eamon. I'm so proud of you, man. I want to talk about honor. I want to honor you, bro. It's like I've seen the growth in you over this last almost year too, right? It's crazy to see. Even the way you're walking with a little more confidence. And I think it's that confidence, right? I just remember you used to walk into a room a little bit and you'd have like your head down a little, like you would just like shoulder slouched a little bit, right? But I do see you walk in now. It's like you're walking with like, all right, you know who you are a little bit, you know who you're becoming. And I think you fell in love with the process of what we talked about is becoming. It's not where you are, it's not where you've been, it's who you
Uh,
becoming today, a daily process. So I'm so proud of you, man. And I hope what I said did help you in regards to like how do you heal from things. Bring it to God, number one, get into scripture, ask for revelation, self-reflect, journal it down, find people that overcame your situation and their fruit, and they're going to help you produce fruit in that situation. Make sense? Did that help?
yeah, 100%. And I remember talking about on another one of our meetings about just kind of like confidence and discipline. And I was talking about how in California, when I was like super consistent in the gym, I mean, like I looked great, I felt great, and it really poured into every area in my life. Just the fact that I was keeping the promise to myself, like, hey, I'm gonna go to the gym every day, and I saw that slow improvement, and it's kind of like everything else when it comes to growth and improvement. Keeping those promises to yourself, I think, is what really builds that confidence, like you say. And
Oh,
yeah, I mean, I think I guess when I when you first met me, I don't think I was keeping as many promises to myself, and I think that's why you can notice that a little bit more. But I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
of course, man. And that goes to show, right? You're asking how do you heal and all this stuff. Uh, because here's the thing is unhealed wounds don't stay personal, they become organizational. That's my other point. What you don't heal doesn't stay just to you, it stays around, it goes around you. And it's the same when you're with your wife, it's the same in how you lead your family, it's the same in how you parent. Some of the way my parents, my dad led, my mother led, didn't stay personally with them, it poured into me. That legacy we're talking about, Bravel, you could also leave a bad legacy in your kids. You could also leave a bad
and,
legacy.
and that's the fear. I mean, that's what struck me the hardest. It's like I don't want to, because you only have your kids for 18 years, and then you release them to the world, and then they make their own decisions, and I can't control your decisions once you're not with me. I mean, you've been there, you know that as you grow up, you see how your parents live, you see how they're living life, and this is how they do it, and then you're out on your own, and then you have to make your own decisions. No man is an island, like you were saying. Iron sharpens iron. So yeah. Oh, I can go out and try and do it on my own, but like you said, you have mentors. You have people. You have men in your life that show you. I mean, you can choose whoever you want to be your mentor. I mean, no one tells you this is the guy to be your mentor. You pick the people that you pattern your life after, and if you don't do it right with your children, they're going to whomever the heck they please and learning from them. And do you want some random guy with some random ideas teaching your kid how to live his life, or do you want to be a resource? Because if you break it down to Medicare, we're a resource for these people. And if I'm your resource, you trust me. I mean, like, it's a whole trust factor. I tell you, I think this is. I mean, these are the best plans available for you. You're trusting me to give you the right advice. If your children don't see you as a good resource, they're going to go to whom. I mean, they don't drink the sand because Um, they don't drink the sand because they think it's water. They drink the sand because they don't know the difference.
Mm.
And if you show them by your actions and how you live that this is the way to go, they will follow your pattern. But if you
And this
if you've given
biblical.
them no direction, then I mean, a ship without a rudder is lost.
And it's biblical, guys. Look, and this is the next verse. Hebrews 12:15. See to it that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. This could be with your workplace. This could be within your family. This could be your children. This can be your spouse. This could be your friends. See to it that no bitter root grows up to cause trouble and defile many. I'm going to break this verse down on a deeper level, all right? This verse is just not about bitterness, guys. It's about impact. What this verse is warning us is a root starts in one person. The root that starts in one person can eventually affect many people. That's why the verse says, ready? No bitter root grows up to cause trouble. Make sure it doesn't grow up to cause trouble and defile many. Okay? So grows up, it develops over time, that root. Causes trouble, it creates disruption. Defiles many, it spreads beyond an original person. So this verse is showing something spiritual and leadership based. Unhealed roots in your life never stay contained. It literally says, this is biblical. No bitter root grows up to make sure it see to it. Like make sure you see that those bitter roots don't grow up to cause trouble in your life and defile many around you guys. This is biblical, guys. This is biblical leadership. That's why I love the Bible. So many great leadership, so many great leadership principles in the Word of God. Because here's the thing, guys: is unhealed wounds start privately, they grow quietly, but they impact others. That's a bar. Write that down. Unhealed wounds start privately, grow quietly, but impact others. This is the leadership warning, right? It starts privately, meaning it's internal. I'm fine. I'm over it. I don't care anymore. I just don't trust people. It grows quietly. It becomes, hey, sarcasm, suspicion, guardedness, impatience, emotional distance, short temper, control. But it will eventually impact others. It becomes your culture because leaders don't just carry pain. When you step into a leadership role and people are underneath you and you're leading them somewhere, you carry authority. So the pain you're carrying doesn't just, it's not just regular pain, it's also authority. So when a leader is wounded, when you have wounds that's unhealed, their pain gets amplified, and a wound in a leader becomes a wound in the organization. Because then those wounds of insecurity had, for me, I developed people who lived off of money trying to tell them what their worth is when it's like that's a form of insecurity. Money should never tell you who you are. So a wounded leader will always create another wounded leader. And because leaders don't just set direction, guys, in a company, they set emotional climate.
Yes, wounds beget wounds.
You know, because here's
Like
the
you were
thing.
saying, if your roots are wounded and you're leading, as you move through your leadership, you're going to wound other people and you're going to set them on the wrong path. And that's not what we're trying to do here.
No, for sure. And here's the thing: is when you're a leader, guys. Here's what you determine as when you're leading men: what's safe, what's celebrated, what's confronted, what's avoided, what gets rewarded, what gets punished, what people feel when they walk into a room. You hear that, guys? As a leader, when you're a leader in a company, when you're a leader in your life, to your family, whatever it is, you're gonna what is safe for your business, what's celebrated, what's confronted, what's avoided, what gets rewarded, what gets punished, and what people feel when they walk into a room. So even if you have a vision, if you're wounded, your culture will still reflect the wounds. Do you mind if I pause you guys really quick? One second. Sorry, guys. I had to get the little one, man. This little guy. See, we're talking about legacy here. We have this guy here, right? So here's the thing, guys, right? So when I'm saying you you set the emotional climate as a leader, right? So here's the thing is when you talked about it, I'm gonna talk about it, right? A leadership with a betrayal wound creates a culture of suspicion. A leader with rejection, when you have those rejection wounds, creates a culture of performance. A leader with fear creates a culture of control. They want to control everything. A leader with bitterness creates a culture of division. Oh man, I've had leaders that had bitterness. Holy cow, man! When I mean like they would, I placed them in roles where they were bitter against me or the culture, whatever it is. Oh, it created division within the organization, constant strife within each other. Right. This is Hebrew 12s in real life. It says, "Thank you, man." It says bitter, right? Bitter root. That verse in Hebrews 12 says bitter root. It's dangerous because it spreads. It says defile many. That means bitterness is contagious, guys, right? Not because bitterness is loud, because what we said, what you're unhealed for, your roots, that's going to leak into your leadership. Bitterness, it leaks into your tone, assumptions, how you interpret people, how you respond to mistakes, how you talk about others, how you handle conflict, right? When you're a bitter leader, you don't just have an attitude. You create things. You create a team that walks on eggshells. You have division in your staff. You have distrust in meetings. Quiet. You literally have quiet quitting in the culture. They quit without even telling you because they don't know where to go to. And then you have emotional exhaustion from the people working for you, right? And the leader, a bad leader, will think, "Oh, hey, it's a people problem. Oh man, that's something that I struggle with. It's the people around me," and never self-reflect. But Hebrews says that verse that we went over says it's a root problem because your inner life always shapes the culture you lead, guys. Inner life always shapes the culture you lead. Leadership is not just what you teach, guys. It's what you transmit, right? It's what you're showing. It's how you reproduce who you are, not what you say. So here's the thing: is if your inner life is this is why I really want you guys to know what is the root of your leadership. What are you leading from? The whole takeaway from this is what are you leading from? If you're an anxious leader, you have a culture that becomes tense. If you're an angry leader, you have a culture that becomes harsh. If you're insecure, you have a culture that becomes like uh just insecure culture, political culture, right? If you're unhealed, your culture becomes unsafe. If you're whole and you operating out of scars, right? You still have wounds and it might still reflect in your leadership, but it's not bleeding into everything. You're gonna have a healthy culture, guys, because your inner life of how you are and you're leading yourself, your inner life becomes the organization's atmosphere of what you're leading. Anyone want to touch on that? We could keep it moving. We'll keep it moving because I want to honor your time. Last point, right? I think this is the last point. I just want to make sure. 1 second. Yes, this is the last point, guys. Okay, and I really want to go over it. It says He prioritizes who you're becoming over how impressive you look. Write this down. God will prioritize who you are becoming over how impressive you look. God is more interested in who you are becoming than how impressive you look. How do I know that? That's 1 Samuel 16:17. The takeaway is straight a Bible verse out of the Bible, right? It says people look at the outward appearance all the time, but the Lord looks at the heart, right? The Lord looks at the heart. It talks about David, right, being chosen. It's about God exposing a leadership truth. God never selects based on experience; He selects based on heart. When Corey, I know you love this stuff too, man. Like when David was selected to be anointed, Samuel thought, "Hey, this can't be him." But God judges the heart. He doesn't select on appearance. He had all these brothers that were stronger than him, more athletic, more by the eye of what you thought would be a king, a fit king, but God selected his heart. So Samuel, like in that story in the Bible, he's looking for the tallest, the most impressive, the most leader looking person you can find. But God interrupts Samuel and he simply says, "Stop judging what I'm measuring." Because people measure charisma, height, confidence, resume, platform, but God measures these things right here. And I recommend writing this down to understand, like, hey, if I want to live a life of kingdom minded leadership, how's my character? How are my motives? What's my purity look like? I'm not saying you're perfect. There's a difference between purity and perfect. But am I trying to stay pure? Am I trying to avoid the things that is coming into my heart? How's my humility? How's my obedience? How's my surrender? How's my homeless? My wholeness? Am I filling it with earthly stuff or am I filling it with godly stuff? Right? The world rewards performance. God forms people, guys. The world rewards performance, but God rewards your heart, right? This is the core contrast. The world says, "Show me your results." God says, "Show me your heart." The world says, "Hustle, get achievement." God says, "Hey, listen, what's your identity? What's your character? What's your integrity? How's your spiritual maturity?" God just doesn't want to use you guys and to get things done. He also wants to shape you along the way. That's why you can't judge success by visibility, because you can be up publicly and still be down privately.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time I was up, like up, okay? But privately, holy cow, my life was in strife. Anxiety, depression, marriage on the rocks, just the way I conducted myself, right? So you can be up publicly and still be down privately. You can grow influence without healing. I grew influence. I had multiple employees, over 30 employees, right? Great. I had influence. You can grow influence without healing. I was healing, but here's the thing: it's never sustainable. Mm. This is where it hits hard, right? Influence is not a proof of health. You could get influence and not have good healing. You could build a following, but still be fractured, guys. You can grow a business while being bitter. You can preach sermons while being wounded. You can lead teams while being insecure. But here's the danger: unhealed influence is expensive. There's a cost to it, because it's going to cost you peace. It's going to cost you your marriage. It's going to cost you your family, your mental health, your spiritual intimacy, your integrity, your longevity. So, yes, you can grow, but you'll bleed while you build. And eventually, the cracks are going to show, because public success can never cover private dysfunction forever. It's always going to leak into your leadership, guys. You can build platforms without wholeness, but it's going to cost you. A platform is not a promise from God, guys. Like that's not a promise for God. Sometimes it's just proof you're gifted. People think, "Oh, if I'm going to impact the world, I need a platform." Nah, bro. Sometimes it's just proof you're gifted. God's after something deeper than just a stage, guys. He wants a stable soul. What's the point of having a stage but your soul is unstable and you always waver on earth kingdom minded, earth kingdom minded? I'm going to chase God, I'm chasing earth, chasing God, I'm chasing earth. He wants a stable soul. There's nothing worse than having an unstable soul. I've been there, where it's like, man, I would chase the earth one day, God the next. Chase the earth one day, God the next. I'm not perfect, guys, but I know what I'm running towards. That's why we got that core values. That's why we have that God positioning system to go back to. It's very important, because here's the thing: is God is never going to like, people think, hey, God wants, what am I doing for him? Here's the thing: that's great, but God will never prioritize what you're doing for him over what he's doing in you. Think about that. God is more concerned with, what are you allowing me to do inside of you, changing you, pouring pouring into you? Like, are you letting God pour into you? He's more concerned of what he's doing in you, rather than, hey, you can do a lot of things for God. I can give money to the church, but I can still be a terrible person. I could do a lot of things and say I'm doing for God, right? But am I letting him change me? Am I letting him come into my heart? That's why God, guys, he didn't just give David a throne, he also gave him a process. Here's the thing, dude, is David was anointed in private long before he was anointed in public. When he was anointed to be king, he was in private. They didn't do it in public. It was a long time before he got anointed. Guess what? His process, he still had to go back to to become a regular shepherd, guys. He had to come. Then he had to go through the process of Saul trying to kill him, all the strife that came along with the process of becoming a king, because God cares more about the root system than the spotlight. Hey, how is your heart? During those times, David's heart was always chasing God, a man after God's heart. So here's the thing: is if you want to, if this is how a good leader responds to certain things, right? Is reactions re- like for instance, reactions are emotional reflexes. Responses are spiritual maturity. So let me break this down. Like if you're just reacting all the time in your leadership, that's just emotions. You're letting feelings guide you. When you have responses, that's spiritual maturity. Letting God speak through you in your decisions, letting God speak to you when and how you react, right? And you responding. A healed leader can pause. They're not going to let triggers just drive decisions. They don't lead from offense. They lead from wisdom, not wounds. So ask yourself, what am I letting lead me? What wounds do I have in my life that I now lead from with my family, with myself? What wounds are you leaning from? Because leads you as a leader, you should be leading from security and who you are in Christ, not fear. That fear-based leadership we were talking about, it's always going to create control, pressure, anxiety, micromanagement. But a secure leader is always going to try to trust God first. They're going to trust the people they're around. They're going to correct with love. They're going to lead with confidence, not intimidation. There's so many leaders that just lead with intimidation. This doesn't work. It's not good leadership. Because when you make somebody, when you show love to people, when you pour into people, and you show them like, hey, they're secure in you, meaning like when you have security in yourself and from who you are in Christ, security always makes room for others to grow. When they feel safe that they can come to you, and they can actually like, hey man, like you're gonna call them up, not call them out, right? And then here's the thing: is you're when you create a safe environment, it gives life-giving environments. Like when you're a healed leader, man, people can be honest with you guys. They don't have to lie. They don't have like I've had leaders like would be so dishonest with me underneath uh in my organization because I just led from intimidation. I led from fear. People can fail forward. People can ask questions, right? Um, Good leaders, they don't lead through fear. They lead through freedom, right? The freedom of, hey, you can come to me. I'm here. So here's the thing, guys, is this is the biggest takeaway of all of this today is people look at what's on the outside, the results, the influence, the numbers. The influence will be healthy if the root is whole. The fruit will last if your roots are whole. What is leading you guys? What wounds are leading you? That's why God is more interested in who you becoming more than how impressive you look. Because what you don't heal in your life, you will eventually lead from. Okay, guys. So I have
Amen.
some assign. Go ahead.
I was just saying amen. Hell yeah.
You know what I'm
Like that.
saying? This is truth. So number one, this is going to be our little assignment that I want you to reflect on for next week for yourselves, guys. Okay, write this down, and I'll give it to you so you don't even have to write it down. I'll put it in our group chat. Okay, what past experience shape how I lead today? What authority figures? Who did I learn from? Did you get church hurt? Did you get daddy hurt? Did you get mom hurt? Trust me, I that's me. Moments of rejection and fail, that's me. So ask yourself this. Then identify one pattern. Which leadership behavior might be wound driven? Is it insecurity? Is it control? Then prayer. I ask you to invite God into this. Once you identify it, invite God. I invite you into this place, not to shame me, but to heal me. Where do you tend to overreact or shut down as a leader? What might God be revealing to you beneath the response and how you're reacting? And how could healing reshape your leadership posture and tone or presence? Because here's the thing, guys, it's like you don't have to pretend you're whole to lead well. You just have to be willing to let God shape your heart. That's it. Because here's the thing is a healed identity, when you're leading from a healed identity, it's always going to produce healthy influence, guys, and other leaders around you. So any takeaways from today before I head out? Anyone want to share anything?
Absolutely powerful. Absolutely powerful. Absolutely powerful. I just want to lift you up, big bro. You are a great vessel, vulnerable, real, God first. I feel encouraged this morning. Last night I was in prayer and I was just praying for the body, praying for the men that I care about, men that God has put in my proximity. I prayed for you because I know your heart and you are called. I just feel that you are truly anointed for this. I know that the elders in the church have already called you up, but I just want to honor you in this moment. You are anointed for this, bro. You are doing God's work. You are advancing the kingdom in this moment. Truly, truly. So I'm grateful for these type of calls, and I feel encouraged. I feel good. I'm ready to study. So thank you, brother. Thank you.
No, thank you, bro. I appreciate it. The whole point of this leadership program, guys, isn't to create a manager, guys. That's not what it's for. We're not trying to create another manager. A manager is replaceable, guys. I'm trying to create somebody who's kingdom minded. We're trying to create kingdom minded leaders that develop other men to change and break generational curses. I'm trying to develop men that know how to inspire other men to become their best, their God's best for their lives. That's what this is about. That's what the like as a leader in our organization, it's we can find somebody who can manage people and systems, right? I'm just being real. We're trying to develop men who know how to develop others with healthy fruit in their life. That's what this is about, guys. So when you show up to this call, know, hey, the whole reason I'm coming on these calls, the whole reason is so I can develop myself first. I can lead myself first so that I can duplicate leadership, good leadership quality traits, and other men around me that reflect Christ, and then we could go win souls. Because here's the thing: is a lot of kingdom-minded leaders, we're gonna win a lot of souls with this company. A lot of men. We're gonna develop a lot of men, and we're gonna change the whole trajectory of someone's last name, guys. Someone's family. We're breaking generational curses in some of the men, and hopefully on this call, whatever might have been holding you back, we're gonna get through that together. So then you don't reproduce that in your own families. The line is drawn in the sand now with us and what we allow to go in our families. Are we going to still fall short? Yeah, I'm not perfect, man. I'm still, dude. I'm trying to lead myself well right now. No sleep, two under two. It's been really difficult. It's been really hard, right? But here's the thing: is I'm going to show up consistently, and I'm going to try to invite God in all the. Well, I need to invite God in. it's, but I'm going to try to invite God in as much as I can, because here's the thing: is I can't do it myself, guys. Right? And if you want to do something great, like I said last week, you always do it with someone else, and most importantly, you always do it with God. So anyone else have anything before we end?
Yeah, I got a little verse for like
Let's go, Dan.
motivation. Yeah, you're bringing the little Catholic boy out of me right now.
Hey,
So
listen, bro. Here's the thing, dude. Is it's a relationship, bro. It's not religion, bro. I want you to understand, Dan. Right? It's not about Catholic. It's not about Christianity. It's not about Protestant. It's about, hey, we're coming here. We just want a relationship with Christ. We want to work on our hearts, and we want to grow. So I want you to know.
no, I
Listen, I
respect it.
love it, bro.
I
I love it,
respect it,
bro.
man, for real. So this
So
verse was written 50 years after Jesus' death. It was written by the Apostle Paul. Um, it's like when a time frame after Jesus died and the religion lost their leader, and a lot of people, the followers, they began to stop to work like altogether. And Paul warns them against those living in idleness. So he wrote, this is like really sales based. So Thessalonians 3:10, it says, the one who's unwilling to work shall not eat. And basically what that means is that the responsibility to faith in others are aligned with work and discipline are expected. They're not optional. So Paul's pretty much addressing the able-bodied people that are actively choosing not to contribute. And essentially what he's trying to say is that work is honorable. Entitlement weakens the individual and communities, and responsibility is a part of discipline. So
that's fire, bro. That's fire. That's really good.
so if
That's
you want to eat, you got to be willing to work.
that's yeah, that's big facts. But here's the thing: is if you want to lead men, you have to be willing to work. You have to work on you. You got to give some. You have to give God something to work with and people something to respect.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to lead, you got to work too. You got to give God something to work with and people something to respect.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
any
after they lost Jesus, they were kind of just like, what do we do at this point? We lost our leader, but you got to keep that faith and continue to work on your faith and your work ethic, and it all derives from discipline and responsibility.
love it, love it. Anyone else? Anyone else
Real
before we
quick,
head
I
out?
just wanted to thank you, Justin, because I know you got a lot on your plate right now with business, with your two little ones. So I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to meet with us each week and just helping develop us. Thank you, brother.
Of course, love you guys.
Love you too, man.
I love you guys. I'm proud of each and every one of you, and I hope you guys are getting some stuff out of this, man. Like, be intentional through this. Like, this isn't just a we're gonna come here and yada yada, hoorah hoorah. We're men of God. No, it's like we're gonna come here to transform. We're coming on these calls with an expectation to develop ourselves with the Lord and let God shape us and who He wants us to be. Right, not who we think we need to be, who He wants us to be. And how do we know? By continuously getting into the Word of God, letting God give you the revelation, surround yourself, get in alignment with the right men, which we are right now, that are hungry for God, hungry for more, hungry to grow, and watch how God moves this year. So thank you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all next week. I'll send you guys the assignment within the group chat, and we'll go from there. Okay.
Thanks,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you.
All right. All right.
Appreciate you,
Take care,
Justin.
boys.
It was fire.
Guys.
Absolutely. Take care. Bye bye.